Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Here's the game. Let's go. It's time to attack. We the smartest, fastest, and most physical. We're going to put them in their place. We're coming around to play the game. And he's going to fire deep. But there, inside the 10. Throws Superman. Put route by Edelman. Now they come on a reverse to the near side and a quick run.
NFL enthusiasts, what up? Welcome to another edition of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue, the show where we talk nothing but NFL football, brought to you by War Room Sports. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan, and I'm here with my partner, Fred Purdue. What's up, partner?
Man, Monday night, every single time I say, no, he can't. And I say, my 12 is better than your 12. And then Aaron Rodgers does Aaron Rodgers things. I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is not a human. I'm sure.
Well, let's talk about that, because let's jump right into our show. Let's start with our Quick Slants segment. And the first thing on Quick Slants, we're just going to talk a brief Week 6 recap. So that includes that Monday Nighter with the comeback again led by Aaron Rodgers. That includes, the Sunday Nighter, including the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs, a game that lived up to the hype, lived up to the billing. Then you had some upsets on Sunday that went down, and you had the Thursday night contest between the defending Super Bowl champs and the division rival New York Giants that did not live up to the division rivalry hype. What stood out for you briefly during Week 6 of the NFL season?
How bad the Tampa Bay defense is. I mean, this defense, they went out and spent so much money on the defensive line, and they still don't get any pressure. They can score a ton of points. They get no pressure. None.
Yeah, Tampa Bay and Kansas City, their defenses are playing historically bad right now.
I think that, and I was watching a team on TV, but they had a star on their helmet, but that was not the Dallas Cowboys. It couldn't have been the Dallas Cowboys because they did something that they haven't done at all season. They had an offense.
Kick somebody's ass is what they did.
That was fake news. Alternative.
Yeah. That was one of those upsets that I alluded to, and that was a big one. I mean, the vaunted Jacksonville Jags defense gave up 40 points to the Dallas Cowboys, who in all of their road games this season is only averaging 12 points per game. Now, they're averaging 28 points per game at home, but if you have any aspirations of being a team that's going to take it to the playoffs and take it to the next level, you can't have that kind of home-road disparity in offensive numbers. I don't know, man.
I think the last two things, and I'll definitely say you were right on this one. Every time I always say the Bengals they're going to take the crown away from the Steelers. Every single time I always fall for this. I'm going to learn to stop falling for Andy, Red Rifle, Dalton, and this fool's goal because the Steelers just reminded them whose daddy was. That's literally what they did. And
this one should have been theirs, though, man. That's such an unlikely ending to that game, but that's why AB gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah. And lastly, in staying in that division, you told me, you were right. These Browns, I mean, I want to drink the Kool-Aid. I want this team to be good. They've gone through so much. They're definitely not ready for the big time. Everyone talks about Todd Gurley being the best running back in football. Not so fast. Melvin Gordon's pretty good.
Melvin wants to have a little something to say about that. You know, I don't know, you know, what it takes or if he has. I'm pretty sure he hasn't already, in my opinion, at least. You know, past Todd Gurley, but yeah, there's some competition there. Two of the best running backs in the league preside in Los Angeles. All right, so let's talk about some people who won't be coming back, and maybe some who might be back. But first, Devontae Freeman he has been put on IR, and he is to undergo a groin surgery. Now, you know, the Falcons running back, I was going to say an up and down season, but he's been down for most of the weeks due to injury. And they finally decided, you know, because I had originally thought that, okay, they're probably going to keep him out one more game because they have a week coming, so that'll give him a couple of weeks to get healthy. But that was because of, you know, I was thinking foot injury. But now, you know, they come out and say he's going to shut it down for the season and have surgery on his groin. What kind of impact do you think this has on Atlanta and their offense? You know, they have Tevin Coleman who steps in and does a pretty good job. Ito Smith had a hell of a game this past week. Austin Hooper has stepped up in the pass game to alleviate some pressure from Matt Ryan, as has Mohamed Sanu, but he didn't finish the game the other day either. So what kind of impact do you think this has on the Atlanta offense trying to move forward without, you know, this major piece?
Before I get to the Atlanta Falcons, this injury really hurt my fantasy team, seeing as he was my number one pick. Thank you for being injured. This is what I get for taking an Atlanta Falcons running back, right? Julio Jones, it's all on you now. I need at least 50 points a game from you. So, but no, this is going to be a really big injury for them late. And this team isn't really clicking defensively. It's not like they're okay offensively. I mean, Julio Jones is second in the league in receiving yardage, but no touchdowns. Odd how that works out. That has to be like a record or something. Second, having the almost 800 yards of receiving yardage. But this team, the way they run the football, he's their power back. He's the guy that does a lot of the dirty work, and Tevin Coleman is more of the receiving back. He's more of the Todd Gurley type. When you're out in the backfield and you want to swing it to him, you want to put him on routes, put him in the slot, you can do different things with him. Devontae Freeman brings you that between the tackles runner, and you don't have that. They run a lot of stretch plays. They do a lot of the things that the old Shanahan Broncos used to do in the running game, but the running game just hasn't been there. It's been on Matt Ryan to win games, and quite honestly, you already couldn't stop the clock really, or at least cut the game in half. Now you really can't cut the game in half because Ito Smith he's not going to give you that every week, and Tevin Coleman is just not. He's going to have to fill a role that he just doesn't really fit. The Falcons team is in trouble. Quite honestly, put up big numbers, Matt Ryan. Your contract deserves it. Make sure your other guys get lots of great numbers, but make sure Atlanta, if you guys literally don't win more than 5 games, start tanking. I mean, it works in the NBA. It works really good in the NFL. You get more picks. Go get some guys on defense. You guys need some real help on the defensive line. And guess what? This year is great for defensive linemen. Just saying.
And I agree with the points you made about Julio as well, man. Like, we know Julio is going to produce, but if Julio isn't producing touchdowns, then, to me, this is as good as a shutdown. You can kind of say Julio is being shut down because he's going to get his receptions. He has 44 of those. He's going to get his yards. He has 707 of those. But Julio Jones needs to get into the end zone to help this team win. And, you can talk stats, you can talk receptions and yardage all you want, but when the team is 2-4 and their best offensive player outside of their quarterback hasn't gotten into the end zone yet, then that's of concern for this team. So we'll see, how that situation gets handled moving forward. Somebody else that's not coming back, and this not coming back is probably longer than Devonta Freeman. The Bucs fired defensive coordinator Mike Smith. Now, you brought up in the open how bad the Bucs defense has been. Add on to the fact that they can score some points on offense, but after a hot start, this team is falling back to the pack with a 2-3 record because they can't stop anybody. What are your thoughts, real quick, on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense?
Man, when you're defensively, your numbers are total yards 31st in the league, passing yards 32nd in the league. Your rush defense is one of the better ones in the league, where no one runs the ball. So that doesn't say much, and yet you're allowing 34 points a game, and teams are converting 42% of their third downs. Yeah, they should have fired you a long time ago, Mike Smith.
It just makes me sad as an Eagles fan, because it's one of those situations where you hear these stats, you're like, how the hell did we lose to this team? But, I mean, it was one of those things, early big plays, early mistakes that put you in a hole, because they did, allow the Eagles to come back and make a game of it, but, too little, too late. Now, this team isn't able to jump on top of people, and they're not stopping anybody, so it's difficult for them to pull out a win. Jameis Winston has actually played pretty good, a quarterback rating of about 115 last game, but you still have people out there, who wants to blame every single thing on the quarterback. Unfortunate world we live in with these casual fans who really don't watch games. So the Raiders, they are alleged to be shopping Amari Cooper now. From what I saw, John Gruden is denying this allegation. What do you think? You think there's truth to it?
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's an idiot coach, there's an idiot team. Where there's $100 million spent, John Gruden's time. And if you're willing to trade Khalil Mack, the best player, his numbers are better than your whole defensive plan. Okay? If you're willing to trade him, you're willing to trade the guy in the back end he was supposed to be a playmaker for you, and then you're willing to trade Amari Cooper, and then they've asked for a first-round pick. They asked for a first-round pick, which in reality, he's not even – I mean, Amari Cooper he had a great rookie season.
I was about to say, if you asked for this trade after his rookie year, then yeah, you would have definitely got a first for it. But Amari Cooper has definitely played himself out of a team being able to ask for a first rounder for him.
I mean, he hasn't been the same for a while now, and quite honestly, whoever gets him, they'll probably give up a nice third or fourth round pick for him, and he'll probably flourish somewhere else. And by the way, David, I almost called him David. Derek Carr, you keep losing weapons, sir, and you're off every year. Your team gets worse and worse. Yet you signed a big deal. Oof.
Yeah, Derek Carr getting injured. I know, always. Derek Carr getting injured a couple of seasons ago, and that might have been the worst thing that's going to happen in his career. I mean, of course, an injury that keeps you out for a long period of time has to be amongst the worst things that happen in your career, but this might be the very worst, because the window that we all may have thought the Raiders had May have been a 1-year window. So it might have been good to strike while the iron was hot. Through no fault of their own, they couldn't because in a year where Derek Carr was actually a hot quarterback, he goes down. So I don't know what kind of karma the Raiders were dealing with. But yeah, I think that window has pretty much shut on them. And John Gruden coming in gave hope and he gave hope to the franchise. He gave hope to the city, but so far, he's looking like a coach who hasn't coached in 10 years. So we'll see how that thing goes. They're also shopping Carl Joseph, I believe. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, they are. Yeah, he's one of the better players of their secondary. So now, before we couldn't get after the quarterback, now we're not going to be able to cover anybody. And by the way, on the other side, you can't catch a football. What are we?
So this is just a total rebuild, a fire sale. Come get all of our good players. Hell with it.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, is John Gruden going to coach the team, throw the football, catch the football, pick the football off, block for himself, and on top of that, celebrate with himself when he gets a pick six? I'm just curious.
Yeah. All right, and more injury news. Bills quarterback Josh Allen, he injured his elbow. They said he could. Well, it said reports said that he could require Tommy John surgery. I'm reading reports now that says Dr. James Andrews gave a second opinion, and he confirmed that Allen will not require surgery to repair his sprained elbow. So if Dr. Andrews is correct, and he's one of the most respected doctors in sports medicine, then the Bills and especially quarterback Josh Allen is dodging a bullet here, because nobody wants to be stuck for any significant period of time with the Peterman. Shout out to Bomani Jones for his nickname. But the Peterman, even when he comes into a game and looks halfway decent and looks like an NFL quarterback, and he gets people buzzing a little bit and actually sending messages to your sports group, tweeting, Instagramming that, this guy might actually be an NFL quarterback, all of it goes out of the window, and here comes the pick six. And then after that, here comes the pick that just nails up the game. Why does the Peterman keep getting chance after chance, Fred?
I don't know. I mean, I used to think Tim Tebow was the worst quarterback I ever saw. I go to war with Tim Tebow. At least I know I'm only throwing the ball 5 times, and at least Tebow didn't throw picks. I mean, Tebow at least hung on to the thing. I mean, this guy is just terrible. And, I mean, as far as Josh Allen is concerned, I mean, it used to be ACLs were like the death sentence for all football players, but Tommy John surgery that's a death sentence for quarterbacks and baseball players. And the way quarterbacks they're refining their throwing motions, and the way quarterbacks aren't hit anymore. You have to really have done something to have this injury. I hope it really works out for him. I really thought he was a pretty good college player, but boy, he has not had the greatest of luck. I mean, but he'll always have a job as long as the Peterman is there.
Yeah, and I wish him luck too, man. I hope this doesn't have any significant impact on his career. He's a rookie. You don't really like to see people go down with anything serious before they even get a chance to prove themselves. But yeah, the Peterman must go. All right, so the NFL owners met again regarding the anthem policy. We're still on this anthem policy crap?
Yeah, I mean, this thing's never going away. I mean, we've gotten to the point we've gotten one player back in the league. The other one's never getting back in the league. Get over it, NFL owners. It's not going to happen. Players are going to continue speaking out, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can, but then people won't show up to games at some point, and players, I mean, at some point you do have a CBA at some point coming around. Instead of worrying about preseason games, maybe you should worry about your own well-being. These owners are really trying to push the issue.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And the more the owners get together and squawk about this, the more they're going to, the more people are going to want to go out and do something to demonstrate, just to show that we're not going to be controlled no matter what they threaten us with. So, I mean, nobody's hurting anybody. I really don't understand. I mean, well, I do. It's one of those why ask why when you know why type questions. Shout out to Phil Maddock from the Tissue and the Tape podcast. That's one of his sayings. But why ask why when you know why? So it's one of those things that you cram to understand, but you really do understand because you just realize where we live. This is America. All right, so that was our quick slant segment. We don't have anything to go too deep into this episode, so what we're going to do is go straight to our Pick Six segment. In our Pick Six, in our first game, we're going to talk about the Saints versus the Ravens, and that game will be in Baltimore at 4:05 on Sunday. The Saints will be coming off of their bye week. The Baltimore defense is humming right along after a shutout of the Tennessee Titans. Who you got in this one?
Drew Brees comes off of setting ridiculous records, being the all-time leading passer in yards. This offense looks really good, but they always say a good offense, one piece of good offense, a really good defense. The only problem is I don't trust this Ravens offense to continue scoring a ton of points. They're not scoring with Drew Brees. Drew Brees never really gets hit, and the running game's coming along. Mark Ingram's back. Kamara can go back to being what he is, a really good receiver, and the occasional between the tackles runner. The defense looks pretty good. By the way, Marcus Davenport making some big plays. Didn't expect him back so early, especially after the injury he had to the hand. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Saints team can do. I'm taking the Saints in this one.
Because the game's in Baltimore, I think the Saints come out against this defense with a little bit of a bye week hangover. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where I don't fully, maybe I trust them a little bit more at this point than you, but I don't fully trust the Ravens offense. But against this Saints defense, at least this year's version of the Saints defense, because last year we could have said something a little bit different. But against this year's Saints defense, I think Baltimore might be able to get something going. So if they can get something going on offense, and the defense can at least slow Drew Brees down enough for Flacco and the offense to stay in the game, I'm going to take the Ravens at home. So the next game, this is a big one. Would have been even bigger had the Cincinnati Bengals got over their Pittsburgh Steelers decades-long hangover and pulled that game out, but they did not. But the Bengals will be they will be visiting Arrowhead this Sunday night. I believe this is a game that got flexed to Sunday night this early in the season. So you know what kind of matchup they're expecting. So hopefully this one can live up to the billing, just like last Sunday night's matchup with the Patriots and the Chiefs lived up to the billing. The Chiefs get to be at home in this one against the Bengals. I think the Bengals are playing very good football right now, offensively and defensively. They should have won that game against Pittsburgh the other day. But the more adversity that we start to see build up against this kid Mahomes in Kansas City, the more we're starting to see his mettle. I still think it's too early in the game to give a definitive view of what he is and what he will be. But for me, so far, so good. because he's had 2 games this season. You know, he's had some cakewalks this season, but he had 2 games this season where he was pressed and where he was tested, and you know, I think he passed that test. The only thing, you know, that went wrong in the game, not the only thing, but the biggest thing that went wrong in the Sunday nighter against the Patriots is what we've seen for 15 years. If you're in a shootout with the Patriots, you can't score too early and leave Tom Brady with enough time to go back down the field on you easily. But in a situation like that, man, you're not thinking about anything like that because, first of all, it would be very arrogant of them to just assume that they were going to score again. So you score when you can score, and you try to leave something up to your defense. We know the Kansas City defense is going to fail in that situation. I say all that to say, I don't know why I said all of this, but I'm taking the Chiefs versus the Bengals. Not this week, Bengals.
I'm taking
2 in a row.
Oh, man, I'm taking the Chiefs, too, in this one. Dee Ford is a pretty good pass rusher. When they get Justin Houston back, watch out. This team can get some pass rush. Kendall Fuller, the corner that they traded Alex Smith for, turned out to be, he's been able to be moved. He's been moving all over the place. This team's depleted in the secondary. So when you don't have your best pass rusher, you don't have 2 of your best defenders in the secondary, it would lend to your defense not being all that great. But this team is, the critical mistake in the Sunday nighter was not scoring too quickly, but you got too aggressive at halftime. Instead of throwing that pick, maybe they can dunk your way down the field. There's nothing wrong with 3 points, folks. There's nothing wrong with 3 points because the 3 points came back to bite you. They came back to bite you. So but I say all that to say, go Chiefs. Andy Dalton, welcome to the pressure's on, and I don't think you can handle the pressure. And by the way, I think the Ravens will win this. I need the Bengals to lose a couple games. Just saying.
All right, so let's go to our next game, and it's an all-time rivalry. It's the Cowboys flying to the District of Columbia to see the Washington Professional Football Team. Now, this is, you know, I live in the DMV area, the Washington, D.C. area. This is a very big week. This is, you know, the biggest week of the season for the fans in this area. One, because the Cowboys are their biggest rival. And 2, you know, if you're from this area, if you're not a Washington fan, you're a Cowboys fan. So, you know, the number, I wouldn't exaggerate and say it was like a 50-50 thing, but there are tons of Cowboys fans in this area. It seems like, you know, if you're growing up, if you don't like the home team, you're going to be vindictive and just start rooting for their arch nemesis. So it's always big here. You know, I know several people who are having parties for this 425 game. Like, I just can't describe how big, quote unquote, Cowboys week is for the people of the DMV. And like I said, this one is probably the biggest one of the year because they're actually coming here to play. I'm not as big on the improvement of this team as you are. I did have them as an improved team, and I do see them, you know, as an improved team mainly because of what they're doing on the defensive end of the ball. Alex Smith is still Alex Smith. You know what I'm saying? He's still reluctant to go downfield. He's still Mr. Dink and Dunk. You know, he's still going to go out even in a win and get you less than 200 yards passing. He's not going to make terrible mistakes because, frankly, he's afraid to. Mr. Original Man, Father Time fighter, Adrian Peterson is running the ball pretty well. But I still think the game that they won the other day, it was one of those type of games where we discussed earlier, like with the Eagles in Tampa Bay, like they jumped out on Carolina early because of some mistakes that were made. Carolina made their push and actually had the ball for the game-winning drive. I think Cam Newton kind of, you know, as they got down the field pretty easily, when it got down to that 3rd and 4th down, I think Cam Newton turned into nervous Cam and rushed some throws and ended up losing that game. The Cowboys, on the other hand, had a very surprising week as both of these teams pulled upsets, but the Cowboys did it in dramatic fashion. I was always on the side, Fred, that Washington was going to win this game, but after seeing the Cowboys beat the Jags the way they did, it gives you a little bit of pause. You know what I'm saying? But I did, tell you earlier what the Cowboys have actually done on the road thus far this season. And until they show me that they can be different on the road, I'm just going to have to believe what I see. 12 points a game. I got Washington in this one.
And in the preseason, I said that this Washington team would be a lot better than what we thought. I didn't foresee Adrian Peterson signing, but that was a huge thing. Alex Smith I wish this Alex Smith was the same Alex Smith we knew back in San Fran early, as well as in Kansas City. I mean, in the early parts of his career, where he was being a little bit more aggressive and he's going downfield a lot more. I wish that, because he's a exciting quarterback. He's got all the physical tools. I just hate that he waited until he was 32 to 34 years old to make this change. I don't know what got into him.
One thing before you continue, though, this Washington team, on their improvement possibilities that you talked about before the season, this is what I say to that.
They ain't hard to be in here, but still.
Washington improving? That's not really hard to do. Like, sometimes you can only go up. But no, they weren't a terrible team. I do think they're better. But, yeah, who you got in this one?
I'm taking Washington in this one. I just don't. I'm not high on the Jaguars, and I think I was high on Jalen Ramsey more than anybody.
I think they're fluke.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that window.
I pretty much thought that coming into the season. That's why I didn't add them. Neither one of us added them to the mix as far as conference championships go.
It sounded great, and adding those pieces, it sounds great. But I don't trust Blake Bortles, and quite honestly, that's great. But you can beat that team offensively. If you get after Blake Bortles, it's over with. But Zeke is eating though. I'm sorry, he's a very, very good back. And if they ever go get him some help in the form of maybe an offensive lineman or two, maybe some receivers, somebody that can stretch the field, don't make him have to do every single thing, this team could be really scary. But Dak is also very limited. And that's fine if you want to be a limited quarterback and you want to. I mean, the Bengals do it every year in and year out. You'll make the playoffs, and that's great. But to go to the next level, Dak is just not the quarterback that you want.
He's another one, Fred. In this day and time of ridiculous statistics, even when his team scores 40 points, he still doesn't throw for 200 yards. So, in today's game, like, how can you count on somebody who really can't, get the ball down the field? So, yeah, I feel you on that whole Dak thing. Let's go to your Patriots versus the Chicago Bears, who came off of a loss versus Miami. I don't think that was a loss that a lot of people were expecting, especially with Brock Osweiler at the helm. But your Patriots are going to see the Bears.
That was a cyborg.
Right,
that wasn't
right.
Brock Osweiler.
Right. Your Patriots are going to visit them at 1 p.m. at Soldier Field. Should I ask you who you got in this one?
Not really. I think the only concern I have is Khalil Mack versus Adrian Waddle.
Keep Khalil Mack off my quarterback.
Please. By all means, please. I mean, I don't see the Bears really hanging around long. That matchup, because if I see this matchup happening and the Chiefs saw that matchup happening, whoever's on the Adrian Waddle, the right tackle for the Patriots, I mean, I'm putting my best pass rusher on his side, and I'm going after him the whole entire game. We're sending extra guys his way, and we're making those running backs have to chip. But The Patriots they're slowly molding themselves week by week, getting improved. You're seeing the improvements even on the defensive side. I think the Chiefs are going to score on anybody, so you can throw that game out. Throw that tape away, Belichick. We don't have to worry about that tape. Just take what you can and then throw it away. But one thing I do want to say about this team, for the running game, Patriots haven't had a power running game in a long time. Everybody gets enamored with short passing games, and Gronk and Edelman, but Sony Michel looks really good after early season injuries, and James White looks good as well. Just think if Jeremy Hill was still around, maybe Mike Gillislee was still around, maybe one Deion Lewis who I really like, maybe he had never left town, but nonetheless, I like what this team has weapons, and Gronk, even when he's gimpy and still really he really didn't have any impact in that game on Sunday night, but as soon as he got a chance, it was like Brady said, my best friend's outside, I want to go play, so I'm just going to go play it, I'm going to throw it up to him, and I mean, those two, it's like I always remember hearing stories of quarterbacks that could go out and play in the dark, and in the dark of the night, they were so in sync, it didn't matter. Their receivers, them and the receivers knew who each other were. I think Brady and Gronk are like that, despite the age difference.
All right, I'm going to take the Patriots in this one too. It's a story that we've seen before. After a little bit of early season struggles, the Patriots go on a roll, show everybody that they're stupid for doubting them, and I think it continues this week. Also at 1 o'clock, Carolina Panthers will be visiting the Philadelphia Eagles, who came off of a win on Thursday Night Football versus the Giants. Made it look rather easy, but they're going to have by the time the game starts, a pretty long rest, about a 10-day rest before facing the Carolina Panthers. I don't know. I don't think Cam Newton matches up well against his defense. Because, I've actually seen it before. But it also depends on how this defense is playing. They played pretty well against Eli Manning-led Giants, but at the same time, Eli is a sitting duck. He's not a moving target, and that's not what you're going to get when Cam Newton comes to town. So I think he can give them some hell with his legs, but as far as, Cam Newton winning the game with his arm, I just don't think he matches up well against his defense. I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one.
Give me the Eagles in this one, and quite honestly, I'm not a fan of Cam Newton, and I think he's really regressed, really. I think he's not getting much better. And quite honestly, from that MVP season, I thought that was the turning point. Cam's going to be a different guy. He's still the same, maybe 12 to 15 rated guy that I still remember. He throws the deep ball pretty well, but the short game isn't there. He's a spot thrower. He's a big guy, and at some point when the athleticism goes away, his game's going to be very, very, very limited. And they haven't given him explosive weapons. Christian McCaffrey won't last long in this league if he keeps taking hits like he's been taking.
Christian McCaffrey takes the most flush hits in the NFL right now. I thought I was the only person that noticed that. Christian McCaffrey hit very flush every time he has the ball. I agree with you, man. It's not going to last long for him, man. He's a good player, but it's not going to last long unless he learns how to, he learns how to turn out of the way and take some of the force off of the hits that he's taking, even when he goes down.
He's just not a big guy. He might be 195 pounds. He's in that 195, 205 range, maybe 5'9", 5'10". I mean, I will go as far as saying he's the white version of Reggie Bush. He's the white guy version of Reggie Bush. And
well, he's going to be in that CTE range.
Yeah. I advise him to learn. We used to tell RG3, learn how to slide. Christian McCaffrey, learn how to take a tackle. These guys hit like grown. These are grown men. These are not your typical Ivy League guys hitting you in college.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. All right, so let's go to the last game that we're going to talk about in our pick six, and that is the Tennessee Titans versus the LA Chargers. This is a 9:30 a.m. game over here in the States because this game will be played in London. I think this might be 2 weeks in a row, in my opinion, where London's going to get a terrible game. It looked as if, when the London schedule came out, it looked as if they came up. You got two championship round contenders playing over there this season, the Eagles and the Jaguars. But if the Jags are going to go back into the mode of actually being the Jags, I don't know, maybe that matchup won't be what it's cracked up to be. But back to the Titans and the Chargers, I don't have much to say about this, man. The Chargers, to me, are operating on all cylinders right now. I think they're going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be close. The Titans were shut out versus the Ravens last week, and nobody knows that more than me because my kicker was on a bye in fantasy football, so I picked up Suckup. I'm like, oh, Ryan Suckup, that's a pretty good pickup. The Titans get a lot of field goals because they don't score a lot of touchdowns, but they get down there and their drive stall. Well, they didn't have any drive stall in field goal range. I got a big fat 0 from Mr. Suckup. Luckily, my team pulled it out for me in other areas. But, this Titans team doesn't impress me. This is another one that, as a fan of a team in the NFL, this is another one that you look back on and you regret. Like, how the hell did the Eagles lose to the Tennessee Titans? You chalk that up as a win. You chalk the Buccaneers up as a win, and you lose both of those games. Like I said, the Chargers are hitting on all cylinders right now. I'm going to take them in that. Your boy Marcus Mariota against the Ravens was sacked 11 times, and he had 10 completions the entire game. He was sacked more than he completed damn passes. I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, he's in very good company. Warren Moon, if I remember, Blaine Gabbert also. But, Marcus Mariota has not lived up to what we thought he'd be after his time at Oregon. I've always said this Tennessee Titans team is probably the most average team. This team belongs in draft purgatory because they'll always be good enough to get maybe anywhere between maybe 12 to 17. But, you have to find value with those picks. You have to go and trade for them. That's what type of team this team is. That you can't build for because you can't get a good enough high-level prospects unless you take, and you're not good enough to really go deep into the playoffs. So it's just like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. There's no end in sight for this. And guess what? You got to sign Marcus Mariota. You're stuck with him because he's the best thing you got. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy this. Tennessee, thank you for taking my 2 corners. This is what you get for that. We miss you, Malcolm. We miss you. But I'm taking the Chargers in this one. This one's not even close. Phillip Rivers jumped into he's jumped into the fountain of youth. 1,700, almost 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 3 picks. Where did this come from? And the offensive line looks good. Melvin Gordon looks like a beast. And by the way, Keenan Allen looks good. Antonio Gates looks okay. The defense is fine. Casey Hayward looks great. Bosa and those guys, man, this team is explosive. This is the other team I'm actually worried about. Them in Kansas City, at least one of those guys will knock somebody off at some point in this whole NFL debacle. Well, somebody will knock somebody off.
All right. Well, look, folks, there you have it. That is our Pick 6 segment. That's what we think is going to go on in the NFL this week. All right, so during these Sunday games, My partner's pretty much going to be busy this entire weekend, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to catch him on Twitter. The next time you hear our voices, my partner Fred will have joined the club. He will be a married man. I'm pretty sure Andre 3000, well, not exactly Andre 3000, but I'm sure Big Boy is probably telling him, don't do it, reconsider, read some literature on the subject, and all that good stuff. But yeah, the next time you hear it, will be in that exclusive club. So congrats to my partner Early on that. Like we always tell you guys, you can catch everything we're doing at warroomsports.com. Right now, while the podcast network is still under reconstruction, you can catch archive episodes of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue on the War Room Sports, on the War Room Sports YouTube page, that is. But you can see everything we're doing at warroomsports.com. So we hope you guys have a great weekend of NFL football. It's been a wacky season thus far, but like we tell you guys all the time before we sign out, don't you ever accept mediocrity. It's been a lot of that going on these days. I'm looking at you, Kanye, and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. I'm looking at you again, Kanye. We'll see you chumps on top.
Going up to LaFell. Touchdown. The big screen. Sanchez over the middle. Touchdown. Play action. Cutler wide open. Sanzenbacher.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.